Hi, everybody. How do you know when to call it quits on a relationship? Well, I assume you're watching this video because you're not sure. Something isn't right, and maybe it hasn't been right for a long time. How do you know when to call it quits? First, a word about safety. If you're at risk of physical harm from your partner, you don't need this video. You need a safety plan. Get help and get safe. If you're contemplating hurting yourself or someone else, this video isn't for you. Get help and get safe. If you're living in fear of your partner because of threats, isolation, emotional abuse, or control, stop watching this video. Get help and get safe. So, you're not at risk of physical harm to yourself or others, but something hurts a lot. And it's gotten to the point that you're wondering if you should stay in the relationship or break up. So, how do you decide? Well, here's your answer. Let's divide your problems into two categories. We'll call them A, deal breakers, and B, growing pains. If you're looking at deal breakers, the thing to do is, well, break the deal. If you're looking at growing pains, don't break up, at least not yet. Rather, tolerate the pain and grow through it. Okay, all we've done is name the dilemma, so how can you tell which problems are which kind? Let's start with category A, the deal breakers. You want to have kids and your partner doesn't, or vice versa. If you're a woman wanting to get pregnant, the clock is ticking loudly. Or you want to get married and your partner doesn't, or vice versa. Or it turns out that one of you is gay and the other is straight, and sex in your relationship is important to you. Or you're religiously observant and your partner objects, and you don't know how you could have children together unless you were united on that issue. Or you realize you can't bear living in the city and your partner can't bear living anywhere else but the city. Or you can't imagine living without your cat and your partner can't stand cats. The thing about deal breakers is there's no compromise possible. You can't both have and not have kids. If it's a deal breaker, it's painful, but it's not complicated. You know what the problem is. You just have to decide if you can give up what you want or convince your partner to give up what they want. If not, it won't work. But most of the problems people talk about when they work with me are not so simple. These are the problems in category B, growing pains. You used to have a warm connection with your partner emotionally and physically, and now it seems like you dread being in your partner's presence. Or you find yourself attracted to someone else, or your partner does, and maybe you find out they acted on it. Or you find out that your partner has lied to you about something important. Or you just can't seem to talk with each other about your sex life or your finances or issues about your kids or your concerns about your partner's substance use without it turning into a fight. Or you feel you're somehow with the wrong partner, but you built a life together and you can't imagine losing what you built. These situations aren't necessarily deal breakers because maybe you can find each other again, rebuild trust, make the changes, and feel good about staying together. It's not like there's no possible solution, but if you've been struggling with it and nothing has worked, it can seem that way. When couples come to my office, it's often a last resort. Either they find some hope that they can make it work, or it's over. But how can you tell if you should keep some hope for the relationship? There's no easy formula, but here are three guidelines to help you. One, don't break up too soon. Assuming your personal safety isn't at risk, the struggles you're going through are forcing you to grow. If you leave before you've learned what you need to learn, you'll probably have to go through it again with someone else. Two, get to the right argument. Couples often have important substantive differences they need to work out, but differences are scary, so much so that couples will often argue endlessly about anything and everything except what they really need to argue about. You can usually tell when you get to the right argument because even if the argument is painful, it stops being infantile. I call it the oh shit moment. It's when you say, oh shit, that's why we're having this problem. You're not crazy and neither am I, but we have a problem. Now what do we do? When you get to the right argument, you've got a chance to resolve it. Three, get hold of yourself. This one is really the basis of the other two. Getting hold of yourself means tolerating anxiety rather than running from it. And that's what makes genuine intimacy possible. Genuine intimacy is when you are honest with yourself, honest with your partner, and able to tolerate the anxiety of difference even when it's important. Genuine intimacy is scary, and genuine intimacy is when change and growth happen. And don't wait for your partner. You go first. When you get hold of yourself, it challenges your partner to do the same. A lot of what we do in couples therapy is to help both of you get hold of yourselves so you can have the right argument if that's what's needed. Because when you get hold of yourself, when you can tolerate the anxiety and learn the painful lessons you need to learn, you can move forward with integrity. Whatever you decide about the relationship, you're being honest with yourself and honest with your partner. The petty squabbling disappears and you discover options you hadn't considered. It gets easier to stand up for what's important to you and also easier to be generous and accommodating without resentment. In short, you can be you and let your partner be your partner. Maybe that means you realize, sadly, that you need to end the relationship, but maybe that means you remember why you got together in the first place. Either way, you can make a decision about the relationship with clarity, dignity, and strength. I'm Dr. Bruce Chalmer. Thanks for stopping by. If you have topics you'd like me to address, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at brucechalmer.com.